Good evening. We begin tonight with the latest leaked cable from the U.S. Embassy here in Nairobi.
The dispatch from outgoing envoy Michael Ranneberger suggests that Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka wanted President Kibaki to be barred from the 2007 elections on health grounds.
The cables say Kalonzo urged the U.S. government, to pressure Kibaki into quitting the race since he feared the president's health could deteriorate before voting day.
The cables also say that President Kibaki blamed legislator William Ruto for the violence that rocked the Rift Valley.
But as Rashid Ronald now reports, the vice president is now accusing the U.S. envoy of seeking to drive a wedge between him and the president.
Thank you.
Kalonzo Musyoka was a fierce critic of both President Mwai Kibaki and the then ODM presidential candidate Raila Odinga in the dying moments of the 2007 campaigns, as he positioned himself as the alternative choice. But now the latest leaked diplomatic cables from the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi say the ODM Kenya leader all along wanted Kibaki to quit the race, allegedly on health grounds. The WikiLeaks cables, based on conversation reportedly held between Kalonzo, U.S. envoy Michael Ranneberger and political counsel Larry Ondwe, are unflattering. In one of them, Kalonzo is described as an opportunist who is only interested in advancing his political ambition. According to the cables, the VP proposed that the then U.S. President George Bush should call Kibaki and urge him to drop out of the race, since it would have created a crisis if his health deteriorated before the election date. But according to Ranneberger, the suggestion was driven more by the calculation that were Kibaki to pull out of the race, Kalonzo would have benefited from his support base among the Kikuyu community. The VP, the cables says, also cautioned the U.S. envoy that Raila should not be elected president because he was likely to become a dictator like other socialist-leaning leaders. He argued that the PM was influenced by communism while studying in East Germany. But in a statement released from his office, the vice president dismissed the cables as mere rumor, saying they were the product of a very creative mind whose purpose is to drive a wedge between the president and his deputy. In the same cables, President Kibaki is said to have blamed suspended Minister William Ruto for the violence that engulfed Rift Valley after the disputed December 2007 elections. He was also not ready to include Raila Odinga and Ruto in government after the hotly contested elections. The U.S. Embassy in Nairobi remains tight-lipped on the string of leaked cables, but both President Kibaki and Prime Minister Raila Odinga have in the past dismissed the WikiLeaks cables as mere diplomatic gossip. Rashid Ronald, NTV.
Well,